felt like it had a potato in it.
Yeah. I'd like to call the Monday, September 9th board meeting to order. Roll call.
Mrs. Nazario.
Here.
Mr. Ferguson.
Here.
Dr. Ballard. Mrs. Washington.
Here.
Mr. Sturgill.
Here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Recognition of visitors. None. First hearing of the public. If
Yep.
you, if this is when you wanted to speak, yes. Yep.
Sorry, I've
Yep.
never been to one.
No, you're okay, so.
Okay, so my question, my concern, I have a daughter.
Can you, excuse me, can you state your name and your?
Yeah.
You need your name and address, right? Name and address. Even if you.
Sure.
Or if you just write it on the, you want to just say it?
I can
or-
say it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Terrence Thompson. My address is 230 Brunswick Drive, Elyria, Ohio, 44035.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah, just so she has it for the minutes.
So my concern, I have a daughter who goes to Tony Morrison. She's in 4th grade. And obviously, I don't think this would really come as a shock that it's a concern as a parent, but obviously these school shootings that have happened, and I feel like not coming here and not saying something, and not inquiring as to what maybe has been done or what plans to be done, I feel like as a parent would be letting my daughter know. So my question is what has the district done to help prevent it? And what are they going to do or continue to do to help prevent it so that it doesn't happen in our district?
Thank you for your question. Does anybody want to take this?
Can you put your name and phone
Phone
number
I was just gonna say that, yep.
so we can have the appropriate person get back to you with an answer?
Okay.
I would like to add to that, we're very aware and we pay attention. It makes us even more aware when things like this happen. And the safety committee emailed today, and we have a meeting set up for next Wednesday. So
Okay.
we'll be discussing, to see if there's anything that we can tune up or change, or maybe something we might have found out last year that we could implement this year. And I feel comfortable to say we're going to be adding clocks in every room. You might have heard that everybody found out on the TVs that the alert
You're gonna
popped
add
up.
what again? Did you say clocks?
Clocks that will have the scroll that'll say lockdown or.
Okay,
it'll
some
say-
a visual.
Yes.
Okay.
I know a lot of the accounts of the students, they said that that's how they knew
Sure.
that there was a reason to go on lockdown and to
Sure.
get in position.
Sure. So, is there anything that you guys have done? Like, could you tell me anything specifically that has been done?
Yeah,
Respond or-
please, go
yeah.
ahead.
So, and two things here. So I'll respond in turn now, and then we'll follow up with you as well.
Absolutely.
So typically in this, it's a hearing, we'll listen, but with,
But go ahead
presidents,
and
yeah, we'll
tell-
talk about
go
it.
ahead.
So we have layered approaches to it. And so what Mrs. Washington was referring to is we have been working to upgrade all of our classroom spaces. So we do have an instant notification system. So we have, in the event of an emergency, like, God forbid, school shooting, but we'd have an audible lockdown notification and then also a visual. We do practice lockdown drills. We have multiple SROs who are assigned across all of our schools.
So every school has an SRO, is that what
Uh,
you said?
An SRO assigned to that
They're assigned, so they're not
series of
necessarily
schools.
in the school.
We have a dedicated SRO in the high school, and then we have 2 other SROs who are assigned across all of our other schools.
Okay.
And then we have a safety team. Our head of safety is a member of the Lorain Police Department as well. And then we have practiced protocols. We emphasize very heavily with our safety coordinators and our entire team relationship, 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 relationship. So the See Something, Say Something campaign that we've been working on the last several years will be constantly reinforcing it throughout this year, so that our safety officers, our teachers, our principals, our connected staff are talking with kids. And so if something comes up or they hear about something, our best possible approach is to have a relationship where a student feels comfortable enough
Sure.
to come and say, hey, something's not right.
Sure.
But that also connects that we've got counselors in all of our schools, and we also have social workers as well. So our entire wraparound services team is there also to make sure that we are connected with our kids as much as absolutely possible. All of our staff all have badges that we wear. This gets us access to our assigned places. Everyone doesn't have access to everywhere,
Sure.
which is another layer. But we have a whole series of layers of preventative measures in place to help prevent this type of tragedy. But we'll absolutely
Yeah,
follow up with you
yeah.
more.
You put your
and-
number on there, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Can
we'll
I,
grab that
can
one.
I say 3 things that I learned from this, that they came out with, that I thought would be helpful?
Sure.
Because I feel like if it's on the record, it's on the record. And I know you said someone will follow up, which I appreciate that, but I just want to say it since I'm standing right here. They, I can't think of the name of the company, so I can't, but all the teachers have badges that they can hit a button and it alerts, you know, the police, 911, in case of a situation, you know, that they feel rises to the level of, you know, something just not being right, which I thought obviously helped this school. Another thing that they had was the doors automatically lock once a student leaves. So you can't just get back in. Someone from the inside has to let you in. And that helped prevent a lot of kids from, because he would have killed everyone in that classroom if he could have just walked right back in. So just those 2 things, I feel like, you know, the cost and all that, of course, that's a real thing,
Yep.
we know, but I feel like giving ideas and talking about it is just, you know, the best thing to do,
Yeah.
so.
Hey, can I respond with 2 more? Just
Sure.
things that, and as you're talking through here, so we engaged in a safety audit a couple of years ago with, the gentleman's name is Ken Trump, and he's been on the national media responding to the.
Sure, yeah, I heard of him.
Yeah, so
He's helped out a few schools.
he did an audit with us, and so 2 of the things that we have done is, so all of our classrooms have phones, they also have a panic button, and if you look on all of the doors, we had a cabled system, but one of his, Mr. Trump's recommendations to us was to replace that with a floor stomp system, because in a moment of panic, your fine motor skills are one of the things that,
Pick up.
yeah, don't
Of
work
course.
as well. But gross motor work better. So instead of having to try to get a cable on a hook, all of our rooms throughout the school system, every classroom has it, and you can see it over on that door there. They have a stomp in it, so it's a deadbolt that goes down to the concrete. So the door is locked.
Is that when it
and
locks, is that what you're saying?
in.
When it closes, like what alerts that to happen?
No, so any person can go and step on it, and it drives that deadbolt
So
down.
a
into
person
the-
has to do it.
From the
Yes,
inside.
yeah, from the inside,
Okay.
yes. Yep.
Okay.
Well, and the other thing, Tony Morris and a lot of our elementaries have a 2-door system.
Sure.
Where the classrooms, and then there's an alcove, and then there's another set of doors to the hallway.
Yeah.
And those doors are on magnetic locks that
Yes.
release in an emergency.
Yes.
So it makes those classrooms very inaccessible.
The issue that happened with this is he brought it to school. It was in his bag. He was already in school, and he went to go on a bathroom break, and then he went and put it together and went back to the classroom.
Yep.
And if another girl hadn't seen that he had a gun in his hand, some girl was just going to open the door and let him in. So,
Yep.
to your point, the 2-door system I think is great because a lot of schools don't have that. But if he would have been able to get back in that classroom, he, you know.
Right.
The fact is that he was able to bring it to school. He was able to put it together in the hallway. I don't know how long it takes to put one of those together, but I'm sure it can't just be one, you know, a short time. He walks with it in the hallway, goes back to the classroom, and goes in, and he shoots from the outside, of course, which, you know, helped not that many kids get injured, but it's just, you know.
scary situation.
Very
Yes,
scary.
it is awful. So you said someone will follow up?
We will
Yep,
follow
for
up,
sure.
yep, we will get
I
that number
appreciate
to
it.
them.
Thank you so
Yep.
much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Can we approve the minutes?
Oh.
I'm sorry. Oh, did you have something to say? Yep, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. No. No, you're gonna be a little bit. A little bit, yeah.
Julie Garcia, President of Lorain Education Association. I'd like to come in and give you your update of what we're up to. We just had all of our kindergartners receive their kindergarten T-shirts paid for by our grant. This is what the T-shirts look like. The teachers are sending me pictures, so I will share those with Krista so that they can be on the website. If you're interested in ordering your own, Karen Rossi is handling those orders. If you want to order one for an adult or for another student that you have, these are very cute that were designed for us by Lake Screen Printing. The other thing we are going to participate in is the homecoming parade. When that happens, we have mini footballs for our cheerleaders to pass out, as well as candy. The kids love to have the candy. We will be participating in the Rising Titans Trunk or Treat. And we have scheduled our Breakfast with Santa on December 14th, which is open to the community. And more information will follow once we have that flyer ready to go. So, any questions for me? Good.
Thank you.
Julie, I do. Can you, is there an order form that'll be sent out district-wide for those?
We send it out, but I'll send it out again.
Okay.
Anybody else? Can we approve the minutes from the August 26th meeting, and the board waives the right to read the minutes from that meeting?
So moved.
Support?
Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Oh, yes.
Any old business? Reports and recommendation of the treasurer.
I have item 8.01 for approval.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Reports and recommendation of the superintendent.
Yeah, I'd like to invite Krista Lockridge up to give us a communications update, please.
This time I do have a little presentation. It's small, it's short.
We're not shaming you.
Don't shame me.
We're not.
Hello, Krista Lockridge, Communications Director for Lorain City Schools. Let me get set up here real quick. Large Titan movement. There we go. There we go. Okay, so I just wanted to update the board on some fun things we have going. So I had mentioned to you, I think at our last board meeting, that we were about to start celebrating Titan Fridays, and we had our first one last Friday, and it was amazing. Here's a... So as you saw, we stopped at, we had pop-up pep rallies at Stephen DeHanas and Hawthorne. It was lots of fun. Michael Pisciotti, my guy over in the corner, did that amazing video and took all these great pictures. The kids it was super successful. The administrators were very involved, the building leaders, and we spirited through the hallways of Hawthorne, and they were really excited. The little kids loved seeing it. And we will have more pictures from the Browns game yesterday that our students got to go out on the field and get some extra love, and I think they were on the Jumbotron or the big screen. So we'll continue again with that this Friday and throughout the school year. Right now, at this point, we are partnered with Stay in the Game, and when we run out of swag bags, we're gonna just make our own and keep the fun going. The second thing I brought up to you at the last board meeting, I wanted to expand upon a little bit. Celebrate Lorain City Schools Week is going to be September 30th through October 4th. It's a week-long celebration of our district, all things Lorain. And on Thursday, October 3rd, after school, we will host the Celebrate Lorain Fall Fest, and that is to make up for the back-to-school bash that we didn't get to have at the end of the summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have it here at the high school. If weather permitting, it'll be indoors and out. We'll have lots more information to come on that. And part of the Celebrate Lorain City Schools Week is this campaign, 12 Reasons to Choose Lorain City Schools. And I have 12 of our most braggable points up there. I'll let you guys look at that, but I can also send these out as well. And this will be, you'll see this everywhere in the coming weeks. We're going to have it at buildings and posters and all the good messaging that we can get out there. The week will look something like this. Monday will be Celebrate Our Buildings. So maybe Toni Morrison will do a tribute to Toni Morrison, or General Johnny Wilson will honor General Johnny Wilson. They can get creative and celebrate their own buildings. Tuesday will be Celebrate Our City. And I'm going to work with Barb at the Historical Society to see how we can do that in our classrooms and in our buildings. Wednesday, Celebrate Our Students, and I'm looking at school administrators to help me come up with some great ways to celebrate our kiddos. Thursday, Celebrate Our Volunteers, Partners, and Families at the Fall Fest that I mentioned. Friday, Celebrate Our Staff, and then the Homecoming Parade, which we hope to include all buildings in. So we want a representation of all the kiddos in all of our buildings to march in the homecoming parade. More to come on that as well. I mentioned that a podcast will be, a vodcast, it's a video podcast, will be starting soon. It's actually going to start this week. This will be another way for us and for Dr. Graham to communicate with students and families, more ways to get our message out there and to listen to what others are saying. So there will be, once this is out, we'll have ways for people to follow up, to ask us questions. At some point, we really want this to be student-led, so we're kind of going to scaffold it. It'll be primarily adults leading it at first, with it Dr. Graham being the main host, and then at some point we would love for students, and not necessarily just high school students, but any students to come over and be involved. So those are the fun things that we have going. Does anybody have any questions?
No, I'm just excited. Everything sounds
Great.
yeah,
Thanks.
wonderful. And just at the beginning of the year, so
Yeah,
So much
and I
more to
do
come.
want to say that I've had a lot of feedback from people over the last week and a half, and people are saying that the vibe is good, that they see happiness and smiles in the hallways and joy in the classrooms, and that's come from various different sources. So that's something I'm really excited about. Hope it continues.
thank you.
Thank you.
And just before we move on, I do want to acknowledge, we talked a lot about the arts, so we've had a lot of really exciting things. Friday night was a tough one for the arts and the marching band, and just the absolutely awful conditions that we had Friday night. And I want to thank all the Good Samaritans that helped out Friday evening with our students. So thank you very much to all of those that stepped in. And that was a concerning situation for sure. And talking with Mr. Terhune over the weekend, and then again today, and then following up with our folks that have connected with the families. It was awful, absolutely awful. But I do want to thank the students who were able to persist through, the families that were there, and the Good Samaritans to help everyone in a really tough situation. All right, for your approval tonight, I want to, personnel matters. We've got items 9.01 to 9.08.
Support.
Roll call. Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
And for your consideration, item 9.09.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
I abstain. I have a relative on that one. Grandson.
And for operations matters, items 10.01 to 10.16.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
And item 11.01, other matters, which is an out-of-state day field trip to Detroit for our robotics team.
So moved.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
And that's all we have for you tonight.
Thank you. Any new business?
I would just like to, since I didn't at the time, like to address the TESOL teachers that are being trained for TESOL, and just say that that's just a wonderful partnership, and at no cost. I want to thank Ms. Suzanne Silva for her work in that. That's really amazing.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for our staff and, yeah, Ms. Silva's leadership for sure.
Yeah.
Any committee reports? Second hearing of the public? Our next board meeting will be September 23rd, 5 o'clock here in the boardroom. And can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support.
Roll call?
Mr. Sturgill.
Yes.
Mr. Ferguson.
Yes.
Mrs. Nazario.
Yes.
Mrs. Washington.
Yes.